This is a team of students and academics who've been working in Europe on the development and pioneering of service learning from diverse institutions and from diverse perspectives. We've had the opportunity to work together for the last 3 years through an EU-funded project, Erasmus Plus funded project, this is actually our final formal meeting, so it's kind of with sadness and with joy that we wrap up our work. Joy in the fact that we managed to achieve our targets so that we can report successfully to the EU, and sad in the fact that we've developed really strong relationships over the last 3 years, and we have to figure out new ways to continue those relationships. But maybe I'll just start off by saying that there was a number of us across Europe who were kind of looking broadly at the evolution of service learning globally, and seeing the rise of a number of kind of coalitions or networks in different regions or countries to support universities, academic staff and community really kind of consolidate their practice and learn from each other, and maybe enable the development of diverse flavours of service learning to emanate rather than kind of a genericization of the field. But I think we had this shared vision that there was a certain level of fragmentation within the context of Europe, and some of that fragmentation is down to kind of cultural typology and diversity. We've all risen differently as nation states. Fragmentation in terms of linguistic diversity. We all speak different languages, and at times we might be writing our scholarly papers in different languages. So our kind of macro understanding of who was doing what within Europe vis-a-vis service learning was very patchy. Our knowledge was very patchy. So we spent a bit of time trying to befriend people through a number of strategies. Kind of flirting within international conferences and finding people who could interpret different languages and figuring out who was romantically involved with service learning. And we arrived at this amazing set of 12 universities. So that's enough for me. I think I'll ask my colleagues now to introduce themselves. So maybe you can tell us your name, the institution you're from, and your discipline, and how you're feeling today. Pilar, you're feeling good. You look good. You're feeling good.
Oh, good. I understood cold. I'm feeling very good.
Can you put the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe we use these microphones actually.
So let me tell you a little bit about the history of the project, how this started. After living for many years in the United States, I learned and knew about service learning. So when I went back to teach at the university in Spain, I started using service learning with my students. And I checked the internet, and I realized that in Spanish in Spain there was absolutely nothing, at least with that term, service learning, aprendizaje servicio in Spanish. So I kept on working with my students, and one day, years after that, I realized, I checked again in Google, and I realized that there was even the beginning of a network in Spain, right? So after that, well, I was connected, of course, and one day in 2013, I met Lorraine at a GUNI conference in Barcelona. And I asked her, same thing I was doing with Spain, you know, I Googled for Europe and service learning, and I saw almost nothing, very little, but except, you know, there were some references in Germany, of course, in Ireland with campus engagement. One article on international research, and I asked Lorraine, you have been directing and you created this Campus Engage, you have been around and you know people, and what is going on? And she spoke about, some initiatives here and there, a few people, isolated experiences. So we decided, let's try to do something about this. And we put together this project, we submitted it, and it was granted. This is under the Key Action 2 Strategic Partnerships in Higher Education. And there are 12 universities. It was very difficult. That gives you an idea of the situation in Europe 4 years ago. It was very difficult to put together the partnership. It was difficult to identify what universities in different countries outside of these few countries where it was more developed. So we came up with these 12 partners, which are the University of Brighton in the United Kingdom, the Higher Education Institute of Applied Psychology in Portugal, Vytautas Magnus University in Lithuania, the University of Bologna in Italy, University of Zagreb in Croatia, the University of Duisburg-Essen in Germany, Erasmus University in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, Ghent University in Belgium, the International Management Center in Krems in Austria, the University of Helsinki in Finland, the University of Galway, of course, in Ireland, and the Autonomous University in Madrid. So in these 3 years, things starting to change, and I could say dramatically, but the term is not good because it's not a positive term. From these isolated universities, and not even universities, isolated experiences of some teachers here and there, to the situation now 3 years ago, we can tell that the project is having an effect in many senses, in many ways. One of them is, for example, that right now there are national networks in other countries, like in Finland, in Portugal, in Italy, as a direct result of the project. And in other countries, they are already setting the basis for working in collaboration. And for example, in countries like Croatia, there is now also, as I want to say, direct result, but very linked to the project, there is a national program funding service learning initiatives all around the country. And during these 3 years, we have developed several outputs. One of them, of course, Lorraine already spoke about that, was the first thing we had to do was to identify which universities and which professionals were using the methodology. Right? So for that, we developed a survey. Actually, it was planned as one survey, it ended up being 2. The first one was to analyze, to study in the 12 partner universities, our programs, to know each other better. And the second one was to identify practices in our own countries. We also realized that we understood different things with this term service learning. So that was another not planned, unplanned output. We came up with a common definition that was agreed by all of us. We identified, not just identified these practices, but then we identified some best good practices that we could use as models, for promotion of the methodology. We also identified resources, training resources, research resources. So we created this database. Developed a MOOC for training that is available in the web page of the project. Some guidelines, some recommendations for the institutionalization of service learning, and other activities related to the use of platforms and assessment tools, etc. The project will end in August, and yes, I feel good today, Lorraine, but I'm also sad. Well, yes and no, because on one hand we are ending, the project as such. But we have decided, there is much that has been done, but there is much to be done. So we decided that we want to keep together, not just together, but also open, the network. the partnership. So we're going to do several things. One is to apply. We have applied for another project, so that will keep us together. This will be specifically devoted to rural service learning and social entrepreneurship. But also we want to create, and actually we are already doing it, creating a European network service learning in higher education. And there is a first activity that I can already tell you that in next fall, next year, 2018, there will be a European conference on service learning in Madrid, in the Autonomous University of Madrid. We have also applied for a Marie Curie Horizon 2020 RISE program, where 24 universities from all over the world will be involved in a project on research and institutionalization of service learning. And that's it. And my colleagues and friends, I'm sure they have a lot to say. Thank you.
So, Pilar, thank you so much. I think you've provided a fantastic context and orientation to Europe Engage. But maybe as we move through, we'll go through introductions and then we'll ask more specific questions related to people's experiences. So, Aidan, would you like to tell us who you are and where you're from, and if you're happy or sad today?
My name is Aidan, and I'm a student here at the university. I'm studying an MA in Public Advocacy and Activism, and yeah, I'm very happy to be here today, but I'm also very tired because we've been working on videos for the last few days, so we're all very tired, but they should be good, so hopefully.
Hello everyone, my name is Henrietta, I come from Finland, University of Helsinki. I'm a university lecturer of urban theology. You can come and talk to me about what that is. I'm sure many of you might have questions about that. So I come from the faculty of theology, and I say that much, that urban theology is always contextual and it's community-based. So service learning is something that is right for that. And I'm feeling very good today because you are all experts in this field, and you are, in a way, I think your work and what we have heard already today is verbalizing what I am trying to do in my context. Service learning is very much just beginning in Finland. I'm one of the few people who are doing it, so I'm very happy to be learning here as a junior scholar in these issues and learning from you.
Thank you, Henriette. I'm from Germany. My name is Wolfgang Stark. Originally, I'm a psychologist, organizational and community psychology, and that is maybe one answer why I'm really interested in service learning. I got interested in service learning. I used to serve until May as the president of the German network of service learning campus engagement, and I feel very happy because I was strolling, like President Brown advised already. I was strolling around the campus, a huge and wonderful campus. So please try to see something of it. And I'm especially happy because the National University of Galway has had a very high impact on the development in Germany, because in 2011 we had the honor to invite President Brown to our meeting, our yearly meeting, and then we, in 2012, we were about 2011, we were about 12 universities in our network, and based on his speech and based on his inspiration, we are now 45 universities in our network, institutional members. And Jim Brown then told me, well, Wolfgang, you have to meet Lorraine. And I'm really happy that I met you very soon after that. And we had this wonderful time together, which we will talk about.
Hello, so my name is Catherine. I am from the University of Brighton in the UK, studying physiotherapy, and I'm up here on behalf of all 11 of us students to speak about our experiences with service learning. And given the past 2 weeks have been so fantastic and so amazing, I feel very privileged to be sat up here to represent all of us. And so yes, thank you.
Hector.
Hi, I'm going to read this because I'm afraid that I forgot my own name. I'm Hector. Thank you, Lorraine.
We know your name.
Yes, no, you know very well my name. My name is Hector Opaso. I'm a Chilean. I'm non-European. Actually, I always follow the rule of non-European citizens in airports. I'm an honorary professor in Autonomous University of Madrid, and also I'm research professor at Universidad Católica Silva Enríquez in Chile. And I'm happy. I'm quite happy today because today we will talk about our contributions, your contributions. And it was a great project. That's the only thing that I did. A great project. And we are making a great contribution. This is my personal point. But I'm a little bit worried about our European report.
Now, we might start off with Henrietta, because I know we've been having different conversations since this morning and the last few days about the importance of culture and context. So, Henrietta, can you tell us if service learning is something that resonates with Finnish culture and context and society in terms of the welfare state, or is it something alien within kind of the Nordic psychology, if you like?
Yeah, that's a great question. Finland, a Nordic welfare state, very strong public sector, universal welfare services, a very well-functioning democracy, extremely high social capital, a very strong shared cultural value base of social justice and equality, gender equality, culture in general, which are of course all great things. We are quite happy about this. We have education is free until our doctorates and so forth. We are very happy in many ways, but as a side effect of all of this, I think we have been kind of too well off to, in a way, see the importance of active citizenship, participatory citizenship. We have a very vibrant third sector of volunteering and so forth, but it's more in recreation and complementing public services. We are eager taxpayers, heavy taxpayers in Finland, and we kind of see the government and politicians and the status quo as our best friend, because that has worked so well for us during the last decades. I'm of course exaggerating a bit. We are not living in a utopia. We have social problems as well. But as a consequence of this, I think as a society we have become, in a way, illiterate to civil society. In a way, other things here. One of my students is here, but aside of that, I would like to hear your comments. But for example, I teach a course in religion and civil society, and most of the students who attend the course, when I ask why they came, the answer is, I want to know what civil society basically is. I have some idea, but it's kind of strange. And I think this is a huge barrier, of course, for service learning. On the other hand, service learning is a great vehicle or a great way to implement these values, because we do have a shared value base of social justice and equality, but the way we have done it in our societal context has just been a bit different. This is, at the moment, of course, changing. We have this marketization and competitiveness of many Western societies at the moment going on, and in general, many societies in the world, and increasing inequalities. And I think the time is very good for service learning and community engagement.
Wolfgang, could I ask the same of you to understand better service learning and its position within Germany, if it's something that resonates with culture and context?
I'm not sure about the culture, but maybe I'd like to focus it to the culture of higher education in a way. Because in Germany in the last 20 years, or even longer, there was a very high focus on technology, on technological innovation, on digitalization, and these kind of things, which is true for other parts of the world as well. And I think universities and higher education institutions are very much valued by are you really innovative in technological terms. So the collaboration between business and university is very well established, and in our opinion, it's too much established, because we finally came up with the findings, that our universities are really serving business and not society. And that is one of the big problems. Why universities right now are really interested in changing this orientation, changing this focus. And maybe in a way we are lucky that by using service learning and by using service learning and campus community partnerships as a tool, we were able to help or to have maybe a small impact on policy change in Germany as well. So our Department of Research and Science, the minister, she recently stated a couple of months ago only that now they are going to change the policy and adding to technological innovation, social innovation. And I think that's very important in the broader sense and in the bigger picture. And for this, Europe Engage and the European network and networking and collaborating is very important, because we can show that there is a movement starting, like you said, Antoinette, a movement starting not only in our country. We've been really lucky to have many universities right now compared to the beginning who are supporting us. But also it's an international movement, it's a European movement, and it's an international movement. And it's important to second you once again, Antoinette, it's important to really bring it together to integrate it in a bigger pictures, like SDGs, like the development of the planet and things like that. And so in this sense, our understanding is a very political understanding, not only in terms of how does higher education or teaching change, that is one important tool, but also how do we want to develop our future society. And I think that is very promising, both in Germany, so I'm always positivist, so there are a lot of problems. I don't have to talk about problems, how to implement service learning, campus community partnerships. But still, I think it's very encouraging what we started, and it's very encouraging what we started on the European level, and hopefully what I see here also on a global level.
Yeah, maybe my next question will be to Hector and probably to Pilar as well. One of my things vis-a-vis service learning is finding our own indigenous reference points for this work. So, many in the United States will talk about a Boyerization of higher education. Ernest Boyer, the coiner of the what Antoinette was talking about earlier on, engaged scholarship and his kind of tripartite approach towards that, and many universities in North America will talk, will kind of institutionalize that vision. But within the literature, and I think to some degree in practice, Boyer doesn't have the same traction within the context of Ireland. And it's probably the President of Ireland, actually, Michael D. Higgins, who's a sociologist, who's having a really contemporary kind of drive for universities to democratise knowledge and to connect with community. And certainly many of his speeches and essays in the last 5 years really emphasise that. But I know the South America, you know, Ferrarian ideology and Gus Boal and others. Do you think in South America and Spain and Spanish-speaking contexts that there are figures who resonate more with this field of service learning rather than maybe Boyer, for example, or others that might be more legitimate in your context?
Well, we have the same discussion in Boston. In a strict sense, this is one of the problems when service learning as a concept is an American concept. They create the brand of service learning. In South America, and actually I am not sure if I am the right person to talk about it, but we have the Centro Latinoamericano of Aprendizaje Servicio, the Latin American Center of Aprendizaje Servicio, and of course, Nieves Tapia, she's an amazing woman, she added a new concept, solidaridad. And it's changed a little bit the concept. But in my country, the word solidaridad, means we need to accept this tough environment, and we need to try to deal with it. It's a little bit polemic because Chile is the first lab of the neoliberalism around the world. We were the lab, and actually the position about service learning is a little bit critical. I mean, for example, when you say service learning, the first thing that my folks think is in-situated learning, aprendizaje situado, Paulo Freire. It's a political and ideological point of view, and actually I fully agree with the idea. But in a strict sense, we are trying, and actually this is one of the, I'm thankful with the Latin American Center of Service Learning to create this idea of solidarity, because it changed the understanding of an American ideology in our national context. This is the thing that I'm able to say. Pilar, about Spain?
Well, I would like to share with you a couple of thoughts. One is that in the Spanish context, in the universities, I would say all universities already have developed this volunteering in office, volunteering. The concept of volunteering is very much embedded in the higher education culture. And that is very good, and is something that is considered very positive, but when speaking about service learning, it has also a downside, which is that all universities already have developed this, and they don't feel the need to do anything else. That third mission of the university is already taken care of, well-developed programs. So that is interfering with the concept of service learning and with the idea of promoting it. And I'm not just talking about integrating the learning, linking the learning with the service, which is very important. But there is something else with it. And let me give you an example of what is happening in Spain right now. There is a political crisis, you know, we have lots of cases of political corruption. There is an economic crisis, very deep, you know, very high rates of unemployment and poverty is increasing. There is an educational crisis with laws changing. Every time the government changes, every 4 years, sometimes even less. So it's a difficult situation, and that is creating a lot of problems in Spain, but it's also having a very positive effect in terms of the movement. You know, society is starting to react, and there are, as you know, political movements like Podemos, you know, this 15th of May movement from the youth. So, for example, in Madrid, the local government now is part of this Podemos very socially oriented government. And they have developed the mayor of Madrid. She has created a municipal office for service learning and wants to promote it in all universities there. So this is being very positive because all rectors have approved this and they are all collaborating. But we are now finding difficulties about how to implement this, you know, how to make it live together with all these volunteering programs that are already implemented in the universities. And well, I don't know if with that we gave a picture of what is going on.
Moving on to Aidan. Aidan, you know, I'm so proud of you. You're from NUI Galway, and you're like the emulation of what we want every student to be. But you're great. Yeah, you're a real critical citizen. Yeah. But I guess my question to you is maybe about you. You know, were you born this way? Were there, you know, or no, to be honest, what have been your academic experiences?
Okay. Well, I think for me, my experiences.
Just talk into the mic, please.
Hello. Is it working?
Yeah.
For me, my experience in started learning was kind of a no-brainer really because the first time I did a service learning placement, I was involved in a charity which helps people who are in financial difficulties. And of course, Ireland, like most of Europe, in the last 10 years has experienced deep recession, economic cuts, and we kind of, sort of the organisation I was involved with, they advocate for social change, they policy change, and promote independence. So that for me was a very interesting one to get started off with. And then also, of course, there's a global refugee crisis at the moment. So a group of us students got together here. We created a national network of students around different universities to highlight, to increase public awareness of the refugee crisis and to go train ourselves based on the National Youth Council of Ireland and their Sustainable Development Goals, and to go out into secondary schools to educate. Is it still too far away? Sorry. Yeah, so I think it's been positive social experience. I just normally I'm so loud that nobody ever needs me. But did anybody hear any of that?
And you know what I think would be fascinating for people if they knew more about the traveller community in Ireland, and you've engaged with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And maybe to give people a sense of this very particular community within the context of Ireland.
Yeah, well, for any of you who aren't familiar with the travelling community in Ireland, they're a minority group, an indigenous ethnic group in Ireland, and they are one of the most marginalised in our own country. And up until the February of this year, they weren't recognised as an ethnic minority within our country, so they experienced social exclusion, poverty, low education, low life expectancy, low education attainment, all of the above that most minorities do experience. And unfortunately, Ireland was just ignored that for decades now. And they went from a policy of pretty much forced assimilation into more recent times to becoming open to understand more of the travelling community. But Ireland still has a long way to go in that role. So with what I had done and worked alongside some travellers in the Galway Traveller Movement, they're an advocacy group based here in Galway, to highlight the conditions in traveller-specific accommodation, namely halting sites, because travellers as a nomadic tradition would use halting sites as places where they would stay temporarily and then they would move to another one. But conditions in these in Ireland are woefully I don't know how to describe. I'd say like under-facilitated, to say the least. That would be euphemistically speaking. So the Go Over Traveller movement, like the National Have a Point, a national advocacy group for travellers, was focusing, well, hoping to force social change in the Irish government and policy makers.
And can you maybe recall something that you've gained from that experience of moving into a different community and culture that has given you an insight, or what impact does that have?
Well, yeah, I think that service learning is in a prime position to highlight and advocate for like social justice issues. To me, service learning would be rights based, and it should, in a way that my undergraduate was in sociology, and we didn't cover any to break down the different modules. We didn't really cover any really minority issues or anything like that. So I think maybe the service learning aspect of my undergraduate did actually help a lot in that regard. The advocacy role.
Catherine, moving on to you next. You're a recent graduate of physiotherapy. We were talking a lot about that discipline and it being quite applied and practical, and maybe not everybody gets that experience. But would you like to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, so quite differently, around half of my course itself is actually practical based. So the first experience that we get of service learning within our first year of a 3-year course is working within the communities, not as a physiotherapist. My personal experience was with working with homelessness, and especially a lot of people coming over to the UK wanting to find work to earn more of a living, not having housing, and therefore not being able to have a hot meal. So we would provide food for them, a warm place for them to come, and we would all sit down, we'd all cook together, sit down and have a meal together. So that was my first experience of service learning, which was extremely beneficial. But actually, as Lorraine pointed out, over half my course, like I said, is practical based. So therefore, I'm then working within the National Health Service as a physiotherapist. And that's not necessarily just within the hospital. So a lot of the time it is working within the hospital, but also a large chunk of being a physiotherapist is working within the community as well, so within people's homes. Therefore, I did have a lot of hands-on experiences working practically, and I found that very beneficial. And actually, we were speaking a lot yesterday about how courses can be very much exam-based, and yes or no, kind of these are your multiple choices, which answer is correct, that whole memorising. I'm very fortunate that my course, because I am such a practical person, over 70% of my grade comes from my practical part that I play within a role as a future physiotherapist. So as a physiotherapy student, I get that grade from what I have done within work, which I find amazing, just because that, I believe, is a true reflection of myself. So, yeah.
And Catherine, this week you've been spending a lot of time with 10 other strangers from Spain, Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, Croatia, Italy, Lithuania, Belgium, and Finland. What has this experience been like? Has it been awful, obviously? Experience. But what has this experience been like for you all, if you could be the ambassador?
So I think I can speak on behalf of everyone and say it's been the most life-changing and absolutely fantastic experience. We've all become such good friends, and the conversations that we've been having amongst ourselves have just been completely different conversations to what I would have with any of my friends back home. It's just been the best learning experience, and just speaking with people from such different cultures. I didn't realise how many differences we had within our cultures until we all come together and start chatting about topics that are so personal towards us, and we'll all listen to each other, want to know more. It's just those kind of experiences that you just cannot recreate at home. It's just been absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
And yeah, in a way that's wonderful, but it's really difficult as well because, we've created this kind of momentum, this bubble of activity and fire, if you like. So, how are we going to harness that and continue it, or yeah?
Wow. Put it in a jar. I think it's staying in contact really. A lot of the time, we've all come up with ideas. We've all been discussing amongst ourselves as future members of workforces. Really, all of us have taken a part of this and said, in future, I know that I'm going to be doing this. And how can I word this? Sorry, I'm just thinking. Can I give examples? Do you mind if I just speak about some of the conversations that we've had, everyone? So I know that Kevin was saying, in particular, he wants to be a teacher in future. So some of the tech skills that we've learned these past couple of weeks, putting together some videos, he was saying that he's going to use some of these skills that he's developed and help with his teaching this way. Aidan, can we think of anything else? I'm trying to think. Do you want to add anything?
Practical use.
Practical
well, yeah,
use.
I'm currently working on my thesis, which is covering service learning, so I'm getting a lot of experience from all of you. So yeah, I'm just mining you all for information, and I think that's really good. So kind of learn from each other from different perspectives, but also underlying each one of us, even though we're from different countries, we all share a profound belief in human rights. That's the idea there, that we do want to be agents of social change for the positive, and we do want to become critically thinking, proactive citizens within a democratic state. That's kind of the idea, is ultimately to encourage other people to do that as well.
I think the other thing to add as well is that we had a conversation on Thursday, and Joao, you made an excellent point about it's actually going into these communities, and instead of being like, how can I change them, it's a movement that we all create together. How can I help these people to make what they're doing already so much better? And again, with them, it's that whole collaboration. So I think going in with that theory, how can we collaborate? How can we create something amazing and keep doing that?
Great, that's a lovely message. I think what I've learned from you is the importance of process rather than product. And there is no pressure to have an amazing video done by Friday.